Hey everybody, it's PDubs. Thanks as always for hanging out upstairs with us and for checking out the channel. Now previously I had released two videos, which I'll have linked below in the video description, showing you how to get the Team Encoder Arcade1UP Countercade Hack up and running on your Marvel Super Heroes cabinet. This hack also can be used for the NBA Jam, Mortal Kombat 2, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Arcade1UP Countercades. The hack itself is, let's be honest, it's a bit of a time-consuming process, as well as a little bit of a challenge for some people to get things up and running. So I'm happy to announce that we have our very first handpicked and curated builds from the community for this particular mod. This particular build has 1,016 games on it. It's a 16 gigabyte image. And the most important thing, or the best of the best thing about this build, is the favorites section. Underneath the favorites section are 210 of probably some of the best arcade games of all time, usually the ones you want to play on your multicades. These particular games are spread out amongst the MAME, FB Neo, TurboGrafx 16, Nintendo Entertainment System. There's over 800. The entire Nintendo library is in here if you like console games. Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, there's a few games. There's some ports. There's some Sega Genesis, there's some Sega CD, there's a couple Sega 32X. There's a whole bunch of PlayStation games, about 31, but the most important thing is these several hundred arcade games that are on this build. Now keep in mind, although you'll be able to download this build and stick it on a flash drive, you do need to go to the tutorials and you do need to follow the very first steps about installing the hack and installing the drivers onto your countercade. You can't just stick this flash drive in and magically expect it to work. You still need to install the hack, but all the later steps, especially on my tutorial video where everything is timestamped for you, all those later steps about setting up these builds on a flash drive, etc., well, you'll be able to skip all that because you'll download this flash drive build. But it's important to remember, you still need to do the install driver hack. If you need assistance on doing the hack, again, I have the tutorial videos as well as all this is linked below, the link to the Team Encoder website, where they have written instructions step-by-step on how to do the hacks, as well as links to tutorial videos that have already been posted online, including my own, as well as links to all the hack files and everything you need. And remember, they're all specific to each particular countercade. Now let's say you followed the tutorial videos, you also followed the written instructions on their website, and you still can't get past step 4. You still can't get the hack installed on your countercade, you're encountering some kind of issues, etc. Well guys, make sure you join the Team Encoder Discord channel. It's free to join. Just have your Discord account and accept the invite. The link to get into this Discord is in the video description below. Navigate down to the countercade section, and underneath the countercade channels, you'll find and be able to ask for assistance with the hack itself. Again, for just the hack. But when it comes to this particular image or build that you're going to stick on a flash drive, this is a community created build. This was done by a few developers in the community. We greatly appreciate them for spending hundreds of hours getting this put together for everybody. This build wasn't created by the Team Encoder team, so don't expect them to help you with it, because they had nothing to do with this build, but they will help you get the hack up and running on your device. When you download the build is probably going to be called the Batocera 16 gigabyte MSH-MK-NBA Arcade1Up Countercade Image. This build will work on the Marvel Super Heroes, Mortal Kombat, and Arcade1Up NBA Jam cabinets. It's important to note, though, if you do decide to put this on the NBA Jam cabinet, you will have to reassign some button mapping once you launch this for the first time on the countercade. You're going to want to follow the written instructions in the README file. What's great about community builds is they give you the instructions, everything you need to know about how to remap the controls. If you do have an NBA Jam countercade you want to put this on, or, you know, how to get it up and running on Marvel Super Heroes, Mortal Kombat, all that kinds of stuff. The good news is it's going to be plug and play. Also shows you how you could get into the retro arch menu and all that kinds of stuff. All your major controls are listed here, etc. After you download this 16 gigabyte build and unzip it, it's going to look like that. You're going to have a text file as well as an image file. And what we need to do is we need to get this image file transferred over to a flash drive. So I have this blank formatted exFAT flash drive plugged into my system that I'm just waiting to use. And in order to get images put onto your flash drives, you have to use a simple tool called Balena Etcher. I'll have a link to download this if you haven't done it already. All you do is you select the image, so you got to find it in your particular computer. I have it saved right here in this folder. This is what I downloaded and unzipped. Select your image. It should automatically default to selecting your thumb drive. Doesn't hurt to triple check. Make sure you don't accidentally flash your computer itself. Make sure it's going to be flashed onto the hard drive. After you select your thumb drive, you're going to click on flash. It'll ask you for a confirmation, and after you say yes, it'll begin the whole flashing process. Flashing an image this small should take less than 30 minutes for most computers to do, provided you followed the steps in the previous videos on installing the drivers and the hack onto your CounterCade device. The good news is you don't have to set up a whole new flash drive. You could just plug this thing in. You could skip all those steps about finding and setting up games and getting things up and running. You could just plug this in, turn it on, and boom, you have an image. You have a bunch of games ready to play. When it comes to your controls, let me give you a couple of tips of need-to-know information. For instance, this build has the 6-player button mods. Everything's been configured and put in. So good news, you have player 2 as your hotkey button, player 1 is your start button, and you don't have to worry about mapping 6-player controls as well as button mappings for all the games. They've all been completed for you. A, of course, is to enter. B, of course, is to go back. A is the blue button on the bottom. B is the red button on the bottom. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. When navigating the menus, after you select a game and hit that A button to launch the game, when you're inside the game, you press the player 2 start button to insert a coin, and press player 1 start, and that will go ahead and insert your coins and get your arcade games launched. And then, of course, if you want to exit the game, all you have to do is hit both player 1 and player 2 start at the same time, and that'll take you back to the main menu of games. It couldn't be simpler. It just takes a second. When it comes to your volume controls on this build, all you have to do is simply toggle press the volume slider. You can't just hold it in like you used to if you were running the stock system, stock hardware. You have to multiple time press up, multiple time press down to change the volume, but it will work for most games while in-game and on some of the game menus. If you ever need a shutdown, you definitely want to do a clean shutdown. Hit your player 1 start, navigate down the quit, hit the A button to quit, navigate down the shutdown system, and go ahead and hit yes and let it shut down. When the screen turns black, it's safe to power off. And I guess now's a good time to tell you one of the best features about this build is they did map twin stick games correctly. So when it comes to Robotron, Crawl, Battlezone, Crazy Climber, Cloak and Dagger, all those twin stick games that you remember playing growing up, you're going to have a blast playing it on the 2-player countercade, such as me playing Robotron right here. Everything works the way it should. It's so much fun playing a twin stick game like this on the countercade. Okay, some final thoughts here as I show off all the games included on some of the systems, because I'm sure you guys are wondering. Remember, you have to do the first half of the hack. So part 1 tutorial video, you do have to get through at least the first 4 steps where you install the drivers onto your countercade, as well as you install the hack onto the countercade. Once those 2 things are done, you can then go ahead and skip the rest about how to set up a flash drive, create a Batocera image, scrape for ROMs, scrape for artwork, all that kinds of stuff. You don't have to worry about all that. You can just download this particular build and you'll be up and running with a couple hundred great arcade games, as well as a bunch of PlayStation 1 games. You saw NFL Blitz at the beginning of the video. There's a lot of great games. Most of these games are running really, really good on here. And again, they spent a lot of time making sure that the games were matched up with the right emulators, the right ROMs. You might say, well, wait a minute, there's no artwork or video snaps. Well, who cares? It's a small build. It's pretty easy to navigate and find what you need. Oh, I want to play Bad Dudes. There it is. Oh, I want to play Captain Commando. Oh, there it is. You know what I mean? It's easy peasy. Great job by the community putting this together for folks. And every single game launches. Haven't had any issues whatsoever. Been having a lot of fun testing this out. You might say, PDubs, well, where can I download this build? As you guys know, I do not share direct links to downloads for content like this for my own personal safety. However, because, you know, my videos are educational purposes only, the only hints I can give you or tell you where to go to get it is all I can say is don't be an arcade punk and leave me comments asking where to get a link to download this, because I'm not an arcade punk. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to share links to stuff like that. So you'll find this. It'll be in the normal spots within the next couple days. It'll be uploaded and available for general people to download. Any questions or concerns or anything like that, feel free to leave those comments below. Let me know what you think about this build and all that kinds of stuff. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up on the way out. And as always, my dudes, thank you for subscribing.